But you can almost see the humidity in the air, and it's going to be another very hot one and humid. 34 yesterday, about the same today. Feels a lot worse because of the humidity. It's very close here in London. Yesterday was a full rest day after the Marmotte simulation. Today is going to be light work. It's going to be about 20 to 30 minutes of zone 2, Victor Campenaerts, 120 RPM, that kind of thing. But firstly, a little bit of rotating pull-up and also some press-up. Only a couple of sets of each because I'm keeping the volume low because recovery is the emphasis. And as you can see, we're very much back on the grind at work. So first it's time for a little bit of amino acids and a small serving, because of the light effort today, of cold coffee, maybe only about 60, 70 milligrams of caffeine in total. So only 12 today, not too bad I guess. God, struggling there. Stop myself rotating there. Yeah, see the humidity. Definitely hard work today. Only one more superset, then the high cadence work. It's so close and humid, you can barely see Canary Wharf in the distance there. The area is, I guess, so thick and probably a little bit polluted here in London. Definitely not one of those kind of beautiful clear summer days that we all look forward to. You can almost feel the humidity and there's literally no air movement at all. It's making working here in the greenhouse over there quite oppressive. I'm actually going to have to resort to the air conditioning. Don't like doing that too often because obviously it's not the most environmentally friendly thing in the world, but definitely it's probably what we'd have in the office, and I think I'm going to need a little boost in terms of the aircon and the energy it provides, especially because I just finished my first Zwift race for about 10 days. Well, welcome to Thursday morning, another hot and humid one, albeit hopefully not quite as bad as yesterday, which was the Tour of Fire and Ice. Basically 1 hour 9 minutes, including an ascent of Alpe Zwift, 269 watts average, 4.25 watts a kilogram, and the ascent of Alpe Zwift was at about 280 watts normalised. So, yeah, not bad. Normally I'd have an easy day, but over the weekend Ed has scheduled some 30-15s, 4 blocks of 30-15s. Each block contains 13 30-second sprints, and a 30-second sprints are 120% of FTP. I'm not quite sure what my movements are over the weekend, so unusually I'm stacking this 30-15 session back to back against the race yesterday. Going to hit the first block shortly. I'll be aiming at 350 watts for my 30-second sprints, because I reckon my FTP, and Ed reckoned on a live stream, my FTP in actual power is about 290 watts at the moment, albeit my weight has come down to around about 62 to 63 kilograms. It's fluctuating in that range. So I'm on Mont Ventoux in Zwift. Going to start the efforts very shortly. As I say, 4 blocks, 13 30-second sprints for each effort, 15 seconds recovery at about 150 watts. I'm going to go on 8:30 on the timer. I'm going to try and stay seated as well, because when I was riding outside I was finding it harder to deploy the power seated outside, so I need to work on that. Here we go. Not quite hitting the power range there, because the gradient's changing. Off we go. .51.43. Just about to enter, just about to commence the fourth block of 30.15s, the descent into hell. I've been struggling to maintain the 350. In all honesty, it's been about 310 to 360. Here we go. Trying to get a bit further forward on the seat here. It's easier to get on top of the gear, I'm finding. It's harder to deploy the power seated. Off we go. Yes, I've been in the 310 to 360 range. That's what I'm hoping for in this fourth block. Ready to go. That was proper difficult. 1 hour 21 and 5 seconds. So after the fourth block of 30.15s, I transitioned very quickly into sweet spot, 3.5 to 4 watts a kilogram, and just coming over the crest of Mont Ventoux very shortly. Feels good, legs feel okay. A zone 2 high cadence day tomorrow, ahead of a race at Mont Ventoux on Saturday. So there we go. On to work and a post-ride nutrition. Well, the humidity is gone. It's a much cooler Friday, therefore much happier. Time for one max effort set of press-ups. $51 51% of the way towards my objective of 100 consecutive push-ups. So I'm back at Bespoke Cycling, just picking up the Colnago C60 following its service. It's now nice and ready for La Marmotte, as I hope you'll agree. In addition to the service, we replaced some parts. Here on the rear, the 28 cassette has been replaced with a 32 cassette, and in order to do that we also had to replace the derailleur with a larger version and a longer reach, and also the chain. By having a 32 cassette on the back, that gives you slightly nicer gearing on the climb, enables you to stay seated, to stay in a higher cadence and more efficiency for longer on an event like La Marmotte. I can always go back to the 28 with the same derailleur, just need to change a chain and a cassette on the rear. So that's all good. In terms of the tyres, they didn't need replacing. They're Continental 5000 tubeless. The glue has been topped up, so they should be good to go for quite a few months longer. The wheels have been serviced. The brakes have been serviced just to make them a little tighter and more responsive. Even pull on both sides. The pads in the disc brakes have been changed. The hydraulics have been serviced on both sides. And generally, the bike is now all set to go for La Marmotte. Save one small but very inconvenient problem. Of course, there has been a gradual increase in a second wave of the pandemic in France, and so now you have to quarantine once you come back from France to the UK. Therefore, we're going to have to look for a different event because unfortunately I can't afford to quarantine due to work and family commitments, that kind of thing. For example, it's my daughter's 18th birthday. I present to you balmy London, mid-August. Pre-race weigh-in. And on the agenda this morning at 9:30 is a race at Mont Ventoux. Really looking forward to it. I had a little recce of it during Ed's 30-15 training earlier. I restocked on my Phil Richards amino work capacity, and I'm trying something new. I'm not very good with new. What is it? It's the lemon and lime amino work capacity taste test in just one moment. And look, you can see the round scoop, and that is a round scoop high five, not an oval scoop. It's buried, but fear not, because I kept the scoop from the last one. And so it's just a simple question of excavation. There we go. I'm going to go full serving because I'm going to have another half serving before I race. Okie doke. Ooh. Didn't shake it up. That would have been remiss. And this has the perfect blend of branch chain amino acids, essential amino acids, and all other amino acids to encourage protein synthesis, i.e. preventing muscle getting broken down during the exercise and helping muscles repair post the exercise. The body can't produce the essential amino acids. I think there's 9 or 11 of them. I need to double check on that. So you either get them from food or supplementation, and that's why I like to use an amino acid supplement, because it's very quick to digest. Food, you'd have to digest it first thing in the morning. It would take time for the amino acids to get into the system. Cheers. Well, that is very, very citrusy, very good. Very invigorating, really like that actually, not bad at all. Still prefer the black cherry, but that's pretty good too. Well, I've just finished a live stream race at Mont Ventoux, and thank you to everybody for your super kind support in the live stream. With your help, I nearly nicked P3, didn't quite manage it. Erwin R, nice one sir. You put an infernal pace in there in that final 3 kilometers to hold me at a 15-second deficit, but I'm personally very happy with the P4 and the average power over just under an hour and 10 minutes of racing of 282 watts, i.e. 4.5 watts a kilogram. But within that, I also got 1 hour power of 287 watts, which is pretty good for me. That's 4.55 watts a kilogram, and that's a new PB, because the previous 1 hour power I did, the Tour of Fire and Ice, racing against the UCI pros up Alpe Zwift, I weighed 65 kilograms rather than 63 kilograms. So I was 4.5 watts a kilogram for that. So this 1 hour power is definitely a nice PB to snag. And Ed Laverat, Coach Ed, thank you ever so much for all you've done to drag up my threshold, my VO2 max, but also more recently my Zone 3 endurance. You know, that has come up massively over the last kind of 6 to 8 weeks without any adverse impact on the threshold. So big respect to you, sir. Appreciate everything you're doing for me. And as it happens, I came into today's race with an actual game plan. It's written here, you see. And that game plan was, don't burn myself out in the first third of the Mont Ventoux climb, because Mont Ventoux has a number of different segments, and the first kind of 6 to 7 kilometers, the gradient is a little bit lower. It's kind of 4 to 8%. So there, I kind of kept the power in a kind of 260 to 280 watt range. I nicely the right side of the red, and really focused on establishing a lovely equilibrium. I high cadence, 90 to 95 RPM, get the heart rate settled, and focus on the breathing. I expelling all the CO2 and sucking in the oxygen, so that when at around about 6.5, 7 kilometers, the gradients ramp up to 10 to 14%, I invested much heavier in terms of the power, 280 to 310 watts. I kind of sustained that really all the way to 16 kilometers, where again, the gradients kind of ease off a little bit, and then it was time to kind of pamper myself, ease off the power a little bit, sustain around about 4.2 watts a kilogram, bring the heart rate back down, and then try and ramp that power back up all the way to kind of 300 to 310 watts, I guess, in the final 3.5 to 4 kilometers. So really happy with the result overall. Very happy with the P4. Definitely time now for a little bit of post-ride nutrition. The greens, the protein, the vitamin C, the berries, they're all going to be inhaled, as is a French baguette that Jane's just procured, alongside some strawberry and rhubarb jam. More of that to come. Forgot to mention the KOM time, 1 hour 5 minutes and 39 seconds. That compares to 1 hour 7 minutes and 22 seconds previously. So happy with that. And actually, speaking of KOMs, Scott from Comhunt TV, I very much enjoyed our little descent race down Mont Ventoux, and you absolutely destroyed me. Couldn't do anything to hang on to your wheels. So nice one, sir. And I was trying. So it's time for post-ride carbs and F1 quali. Love F1 quali. And Jane's doing the edit over there, the next edit. King of Minehead, Scott. And in addition to the French bread, we have pain au raisin and pain au chocolat. And look at the chocolate layer in that, both look amazing. And look, I'm running out of the rhubarb and strawberry jam. Can't find it, can't find a replacement, but look how good that is.